Does that look weird to you? Is there like a lens
No.
flare?
Very slight, but it's not. It's no more distracting than this glare on my glasses that I don't know how to
Okay, and
stop
this
happening.
headset. All right, let's do it.
So frustrating. That glare on my glass, like I'm gonna throw these glasses off one. I don't know how to
It's
stop
hard.
it.
It's hard. It's near impossible.
All right, so state your name, something about you, could be hobby, job, whatever you want, favorite color. And then the last time you screamed when you were by yourself.
Okay. My name is Liz Crowder. I'm a librarian, a law librarian for the U.S. courts. And the last time I screamed when I was by myself, it's been years. Probably. It's been years. I was probably a kid. Huh?
Okay, nothing sticks out.
No, it's probably kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about your favorite toy as a kid? And it could be a specific toy or a line of toys.
My favorite toy as a kid, this is weird, but it was just it was a polar bear. It was a stuffed animal that I got. My dad went to the barber shop all the time and would bring us, and his favorite barber gave it to me. And I don't know why I liked it so much, but I slept with it every night. I had it until I was like 17.
Does it have a name? Did it have
Rosie?
Rosie?
Yeah.
What happened to Rosie?
What did you say? Why did I pick Rosie?
No, what happened to Rosie? Where is she?
She was in I brought her down to the basement. I think I was trying to wash her. I don't know. And then the basement flooded, and she got all damp and moldy. She died.
Terrible. Rosie drowned. What a terrible story.
Yeah, she died right around. I think my childhood died, and Rosie was a metaphor.
Oh, that's a story right there. That's awesome. I see like an animated bear in this story.
Yeah, I could do that. Look for it.
That's
Look for it on the internet.
If I gave you 2 days to practice, do you think you could do a backflip?
No.
No? Okay.
Not a chance. I'm not that athletic.
Fair enough. Now, here's a question that when I ask people, they have a lot of follow-ups. So if you want to get into it, feel free, or you can just answer by your gut right off the bat. Would you rather have the ability to fly, but only when holding your breath, or have the ability to turn invisible for 4 hours a month whenever you choose?
Invisible. Easy. I would love to have people not see me. That'd be great. I could like go out and run errands and people wouldn't look at me. That would be my absolute dream. That's easy.
Yeah, some people when because I ask this question a lot, just like in real life, not even on these a lot, but a lot of the invisible people so far have always went to, I choose invisible because I want to steal something and not get caught, or I want to spy. But you went with a much more like personal, like I want to be invisible because I want to do things, my own stuff, without just being seen.
Yeah,
it's the first time anyone's ever answered like that.
Interesting. Steal.
Yeah.
Spy. Who are you interviewing?
Well, I mean, some of these people are good people, but it's like once you unlock that little bit of darkness, it always surprises. I'm like, you would just start stealing because you're invisible? Like that's all that's stopping you?
I've never had the desire to steal anything in my life, and I know I know that's weird. I know that's an anomaly because everyone I know and love has stolen or has had at least that like, oh, I want that. But I just can't, my brain can't make that connection between there's something that doesn't belong to me and I want to take it. Like
I feel the exact same way. Even as a kid, I think the only thing I stole was like brownies from school lunches or something.
Like that's
and even then,
like sugar from the sugar jar in my house.
Right. But like I've always, even at my most like punk phases growing up, and I was like, it's a corporation, who gives a shit. I could never make myself do it. It's just something, and it wasn't even like something my parents instilled in me. You don't steal. It was just always there.
Yeah, it was like, why would I want it? But it's not mine though.
Yeah. Are you typically like, would you consider yourself an empathetic person? I wonder.
Incredibly empathetic.
Me too. I wonder if that has something to do with it.
It must. It must. It has to.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And since you said incredibly empathetic, which I would describe myself in the same way.
Yeah.
I find that it actually gets me into trouble in a lot of different ways, but maybe you feel this way too. Like, even if I know there's a flat out monster of a person in court or something, if I look in their eyes I still feel bad. They could have killed my family.
Too. I know. My parents used to say when I was a kid, I would feel bad for a serial killer.
Yep. I
would just feel bad for anybody.
Yeah, being highly empathetic is so weird, isn't it?
It can be problematic.
Absolutely.
It can definitely be problematic. Because you give people a few too many chances when you should probably just cut and run.
Yep. I am curious now. Is there ever like, I'm sure that if you're anything like me, there's a bunch of these times, but does any time in your life stick out where being empathetic caused a major problem for you?
I would say in friendships usually, because I am not great at saying no. And I'm not great at setting boundaries because I just care a lot about the people in my life. And so I just want them to be happy. And sometimes that comes at my expense and they don't care.
Right.
They're getting what they want, so it's fine. And it's hard for me. It feels mean to be like, I can't give you that right now. It just goes against my nature. So.
Yeah, that's interesting because like I actually don't have that. I'm very empathetic, but I think it manifests slightly different. Like I don't have those kind of experience with friends. So
you're really good at setting boundaries?
I don't know if I'd say that, but I definitely wear my heart on my sleeve. If I don't want to do something, people know it. I'm not very like, my empathy doesn't manifest in that way. But the
problem is that I do want to. If I didn't want to do it, I absolutely wouldn't. Because I'm also I'm very direct and open and honest. But usually I want to do it. It's just not in my best interest. At a certain point,
I got you. Okay.
So I have to like go against my inclination.
Yeah.
I just want to help. That
makes perfect sense. Like empathy, I could talk. I talked a bit about this in a different episode, but I could talk about it for hours. Like the difference between empathy and compassion, and how like everyone thinks empathy is automatically this positive trait that you should definitely have. And I feel like to a certain extent, yeah, but if you go over a certain line, you can actually look like someone who isn't empathetic because you avoid situations because it's too painful.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, absolutely.
I could definitely talk about that stuff for hours.
Yeah, I could too.
Do you have, and I'm sure you probably have multiples of this, but
oh God.
if you could pick one, do you have a deep emotional connection with a book or a movie?
I mean, yes. I'm gonna go with a book.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say The Hobbit. It was my favorite book. My grandma gave me like a dog-eared copy when I want to say maybe second grade. And I was a voracious reader as a kid, and I loved it. Like was my introduction into the world of fantasy. And I love escapism. You can tell from my answer about being invisible. I just like the idea of kind of like
also goes along with your choice of The Hobbit.
Yeah, exactly. So I loved that as a kid. It's still my favorite book today. And for my honeymoon, we went to Hobbiton in New Zealand.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so good.
The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the first book series that I ever got on my own. Like I remember I had to do a whole bunch of yard work and stuff for my dad, and then he promised he would get me that book series. So
did you like it?
I loved it. Obsessed.
So good.
And it's so close to my heart because it was the first time, wasn't the first like adult book or all ages, whatever you want to call it, ever read, but it was the first time I actually of my own volition said like, I want that book.
Yeah, I get that.
It means a lot to me. Can you tell me like what is one of the best biographies or autobiographies you've ever read? Oh, and any of these questions, if there's nothing specific that sticks out, you can just say pass or whatever.
Okay. I haven't read a biography or an autobiography in it's been a few years. I'm trying to remember the last one was probably a kind of pop culture-y. It may have been Mindy Kaling's.
Okay. It's not that old, right? Or is that
no, just a few years.
Okay. Yeah.
A few years ago, yeah.
Is it good?
It is light. It would be like a good beach read.
Yeah. Perfect.
It wasn't bad.
Right.
Ooh, I know. I do know. Okay, sorry. That just reminded me. I did like Bossy Pants.
Sorry, we're out of time. No, I'm just kidding. Bossy Pants? Oh, the Tina Fey?
Tina Fey. Yeah. I did like that.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. It's on my list, my ever-growing list, but I haven't.
She's a good writer, so it was wildly entertaining.
Yeah. All right, that's good though, because you're like the fifth person that seems like a trustworthy person who said it was really good. So
Thank you.
I gotta bump it up on my priority list. Do you think about anything specific in order to fall asleep? Do you have an image or something?
So easy for me to fall asleep.
Oh my God, I hate you.
I could do it right now. I can fall asleep on planes, in cars, on boats. Doesn't matter. It can be an uncomfortable spot. I love to sleep. I don't have to think about
stealing. If I could steal some of that from you, I would.
Yeah, I would give it. But I'm empathetic, so I would give it to you.
And I'm empathetic, so I would feel too weird. Then I'd be like, "Here, take it back." We get stuck in this loop.
Yeah. No, sleep is not. I don't have to think about anything. I just lay down.
That's so cool. Yeah. What's your relationship like with the outdoors?
I like it. I like the outdoors. I don't like the beach because I hate sand, and I also am black, and I don't like salt water because it dries out my skin and then leaves like marks. You're black too.
Yeah.
Leaves like white marks all over me, and I'm just uncomfortable the whole time. I do like lakes. I like mountains. I like hiking. I like the forest. I like being outside.
I mean, all the stuff I mean, a lot of people hike and stuff, but I feel like not as many as you would think. I don't know that many people in my life that actually consistently do hiking. Like once in a while or something. Yeah, but
I think I didn't. So originally, like when I was a kid growing up, I just didn't really like outdoor activities. And then I studied abroad in Wales and took an outdoor education class in college. And so then they had me like sea kayaking and hiking up mountains and backpacking. And we had to like carry all the stuff we needed for 2 weeks on our backs. And then I got really into it. We did rock climbing. We did everything.
That's awesome.
So I like it now.
Yeah. I haven't been backpacking lately, but it's definitely
so fun.
I love it. And it's a shame because I've never done it with friends, and because no one I know is into it. So like it sucks.
Well, if the pandemic is ever over and we're ever close to each other, I'll go backpacking with you.
Yes, that's awesome. There's so
I make really good food. I make really good camp food.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love that stuff so much. And it's interesting because I think that well, I don't want to speak for you, but like it kind of in a way does tie into loving fantasy because there's so much of the outdoors involved in so much fantasy.
Yeah, and it inspires me definitely.
That's awesome. What's the first horror movie you remember watching?
Okay, so I don't know the name of it.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, I was in a Blockbuster, so I'm dating myself a little bit, and there was a movie playing that had, I think it was a Santa Claus.
Okay.
I think it was a Santa Claus, and it was chasing two kids through a maze with like a saw or like a knife. I can't remember. And that scarred me for a little bit, and I didn't watch horror movies until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Now I love them. They have to be really well done.
Yeah,
I love them.
I'm super picky with horror movies, but it is probably my favorite genre.
What's your favorite recent?
Oh, recent. Oof.
Or movie or show. And then you can say
I don't watch a lot of horror shows, I could say that. But
did you watch The Haunting of Hill House?
No. I did not. But favorite recent horror movie. Shit. Yeah. I saw Tigers Are Not Afraid, which I thought was really good.
I've not seen that one.
It's very, very good, but I wouldn't say it's strong horror.
Okay.
In terms of a recent horror movie that I loved, I saw The Witch recently, which I thought was good.
That one was,
but I can't say I loved it. Now I'm going to spend the rest of this time thinking.
Have you seen Parasite? I'm going to just list
I love Parasite, but I wouldn't think of that as a horror movie. That's interesting. But yeah, I guess it could be considered one. I mean, I love that movie.
Did you like Babadook?
I love Babadook.
So good.
See, thank you. See, when I'm on the spot, I can't think. I just
usually
can't
me neither. Usually, but I just like you weren't supposed to be asking or answering questions,
right.
But I flipped it.
I love that movie, and I also loved Hereditary. Now that
yes, Hereditary was good. Yeah,
anything with a strong emotional, and it doesn't have to have a strong emotional core if it's done really well in other ways. But I prefer strong emotional cores.
Yeah,
and all those movies definitely
have. They do.
One.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Do you have anything sitting in an online shopping cart right now? Oh, wait, by the way, before you answer that, you said my favorite of all time, which would be Dawn of the Dead 78.
Really?
Yes, I love that movie. I have such big love for that movie.
Okay, I'm going to put it on my list of things to watch. I'm running out of good ones.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's got heart, and it's also got entertainment and like comic value, but it's not a comedy. I'm a die-hard fan of that movie. It's one of the movies where, like, if someone laughs at a time that something's not supposed to be funny, I get
mad. Yeah. Yeah, I'm real chill about movies like that too.
Yeah. I have an undying respect and love for that movie.
That's incredible.
Do you have anything? By the way, if you do end up watching that, message me and let me know what you think.
I'm going to. Absolutely.
And if you don't like it, you're wrong. No.
That's what I do. That's what I tell people too.
Do you have anything sitting in an online shopping cart right now?
Tons of stuff.
Name like one thing.
Okay, most recently, so I just moved into this house, and I've been looking for like good furniture, and I found two, I think they're mid-century modern like dressers that I'm waiting to pull the trigger on, but I think I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
You know what? Sorry, my laptop is about to die. Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah, go.
Sorry. So what were you saying?
The mid-century modern dressers.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I have.
So you said you have tons of stuff. You do that often. You're just like shop and just
I love clothing. I love books. I love decorate. I shop too much. I have a big sweater budget. My husband yells at me all the time.
Big sweater budget. That's a good name for the episode, actually.
Oh, there you
go. When you look at a stranger, typically, where do you look first?
I guess dead in the face.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I would say maybe at their outfit, maybe.
Okay.
I feel like the way people dress is an outward reflection of their personality, so I find that interesting.
Okay.
So I just switch my answer.
Right. So you'll look at like an outfit, something maybe
like their accessories and their
So it's interesting. I agree with that. And even the people who go like, oh, I don't care about style, that's kind of a style choice as well.
Yeah, exactly. It tells me a little bit about you.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite t-shirt?
I don't wear a lot of t-shirts. If I had to pick one, I did just get a t-shirt I used to sleep in it, but it's from a company called The Creepy Company, and it's like weird horror shirts and stuff, and it's the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. It's got like them.
That's awesome.
It's hard to describe, actually.
No, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a public freak out?
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely.
Can you tell me about one time?
I can. One comes to mind very quickly. So when I'm claustrophobic, and I also have like an aversion to crowds, and I can usually manage all of these things fine. But it was like a perfect storm. So I went to, I think the Phillies were playing in the World Series, and it was the night the game got rained out, so it got called. And if you know anything about Philadelphia sports fans, they don't do well on like a good day.
Okay,
So when they're all drunk and they're all amped up, and it was just it was a crowd. It was kind of stampede-y. There was a lot of pushing, and my friend had kind of convinced me to go out. I didn't have my wallet or any money, and he was like, "I'll pay for you." And somehow in the crowd, I just got lost. So I didn't have a way to get home. I didn't have the cell phones weren't working because everyone was like on their phones. I wound up like finding two friends randomly after about an hour, and we get onto the train, and it's like the last train out of Philly. it's packed. It's like so packed. People are hanging out like where you're supposed to put luggage. And so I started to like very publicly hyperventilate. And I remember this one very nice gentleman I'd never met before. He was wearing like a cowboy hat.
Yep.
And he had a thick Texas drawl, and he was trying to like get me some room, and it just wasn't working. Everyone was drunk and angry. So I actually tried to get off the train, and the conductor was like, we're not coming back. So like, if you get off here, you're stuck in the city. So I got to ride, I'm like an adult woman, I got to ride up front with the conductor like a child.
Oh my God, I'm so going to use it next time. I want to ride up front. I'm just going to copy you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you cry, she was like, come with me, ma'am. Ma'am, come with me.
That's a great story. I love that. That's nice because anyone else, like that's not guaranteed to happen. Like that person could have been like, tough it out, whatever.
Yes.
It was very kind of them. Yeah, that was very kind.
It was incredibly, so it wound up being fine. And then after a public freakout, you wind up feeling, you feel stupid.
Yeah.
You're like, that wasn't a big deal in retrospect. But in the moment, it's a lot.
So that answers one of the questions I was going to ask you. Do you have any phobias?
Oh yeah, tons. Do you want a list of them?
You have more than one phobia? Like legit phobia, not just fear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, give me another phobia that you have.
I'm also afraid of heights. So I fly a lot just because it's worth it when I get to my destination.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of mental fortitude to get myself on a plane. And my husband's a pilot too.
Oh my God. It's I don't have a height phobia, but I have a plane phobia. Yeah. So much so that like I've without going too deeply into it, I've had a freak out on a plane that caused a disturbance in the whole plane.
That's rough too, because you can't get off.
Oh, this was before it took off.
Oh, so there's still a chance.
Oh, I got off.
Oh my
goodness. It's a whole story, but I don't want to get, because this is about me right now. But
yeah, but kind of.
It was, and the next time I overcame that fear, I actually got a tattoo to commemorate getting.
Oh, good for you! Yeah. But, that's so exciting. That's so exciting.
Even if I see them in the sky, my heart rate starts going.
I hear that.
It's bad.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
You're just.
We shouldn't be up there. I don't care what anyone says. We should not fucking be up there.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not even that. Like I understand. My brain is like, fine, we can do this. It's that I'm trapped and I'm so high.
It's like claustrophobic is mixed up.
That if I want to get off, I have no. Even on a train, because I sometimes feel claustrophobic on a train. I can get off at the next stop.
Right.
And when you get onto a plane, like when you fly to New Zealand, those are hours that you just have to. You're buckled in. So if you have a freak out.
Just look, we're going to start a small company and we're going to start campaigning. Just give us parachutes.
Right.
Give everyone a parachute.
Option. Yes. I just need the option. And if I have the option, I won't use it.
I really think we should do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you ever done something cruel, not cool, cruel as a kid that you still think about now? Yes. Oh my God. I was like, no, I was a great kid. So, okay, this is actually... I actually killed someone now.
I murdered my best friend. No, okay, so when I was 5, I had this friend in kindergarten. His name was Nathaniel, and we were very close, and I never got in trouble in school. I was just, like, so good, such a straight-A student. But whenever we were together, we just liked each other so much. We would talk and get into trouble, and we'd have to be separated. So he came over to my house, and I don't remember how it came up. I think he was being inappropriate and was like, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine type of thing.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, okay. So then he did. And then he was like, your turn. And I was like, no. And so I didn't. This is not the mean part. Then, he left and everything was over. And I just went and told my mom. I don't know why. There was no reason. It wasn't like we got caught or anything. I told my mom. And I started to tell her I wasn't a liar as a kid either. I just was very honest. And the first part was honest, where I was like, here's what happened. Oh, you know what? I did. We both did it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what happened. And then when I told my mom, I left my part out. She was like, did you? And I was like, no, I would never. And then she called his mom and he got into trouble. That's a great response. That's perfect. Yeah. That's really good.
Were you still
I
friends
still
after
feel
that?
really bad about it, huh?
Were you still friends
Yeah,
after that?
I thought we weren't going to be, and I went to school the next day, and he didn't care.
I mean, that's a little weird that he didn't care at all, but
No, he
hey,
didn't care at all. I think he had a little crush on me.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense. Actually, this was a question I was going to ask you anyway, which kind of goes with some of the stuff you were saying earlier. Does your current wardrobe represent you well?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're happy with most of your wardrobe.
Yeah, I love clothes and I love outfits and I was quiet as a kid, and outfits were my way of like telling people I wasn't like a weird little serial killer.
Right.
I was just like naturally quiet. A lot of my stuff is hand-me-downs from my grandma, who is also very fashionable.
Okay.
Yeah, I love my wardrobe. It's
That's
like
awesome.
I think it's the only thing that I spend good money on. I don't buy a lot of things.
Yeah,
but I love clothes. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel the exact opposite. I'm
Really?
okay with like 5% of my wardrobe.
Oh no.
So frustrating. What's the most amount of money you spent on one item of clothing?
Clothing. Okay, hold on. Recently, I spent a decent amount on a sweater dress in Scotland. It was probably like $300, which is a lot for me because I do a lot of budget shopping. I may have spent more on a pair of shoes once.
Okay. But around in that area, the 300, 400.
Probably three, four.
Were they worth it?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. No, absolutely no regrets.
I'm finding a lot of, at first when I was started to do these, like 15 minutes was the cutoff, and I'm finding that's creeping up and up and up because I just enjoy talking to people so much. So like,
I have a different answer. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Probably. So I got married about 3 years ago, and I actually designed.
Wait, let me see. Yep, that's correct. Go on.
I designed my wedding skirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had my college friend make it, and that was actually it was gorgeous. I loved it. It was perfect for me.
That's so cool.
It probably cost me $2,000.
Yeah, but something like that, that's awesome that you got to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that was pretty expensive.
Okay. What's a time in life where you've seen someone injured physically? It could be mundane or it could be big. Just
not mundane. It's huge.
Okay.
It was last year, I guess, because everything's been shut down. So I was driving home from work at around 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And I have a dash cam. I don't want to get like too political, but I need it for as much as I drive around. I just want to make sure everything's documented. So I have a dash cam, and I arrived at a stoplight. And I remember a bus passing me, and then a girl starts to walk across the street. Like she had the right of way. She had like the signal, and a car turning left just hit her so hard she spiraled. Like her feet left the ground. It was like one of those moments where everything is like kind of a blur and happening at once, and I thought everyone was kind of concerned about her, and I pulled over and I called 911, and they kept telling me stay on the phone. And I kept going to hang up. I heard them say it. They made me repeat it, and I kept everything was just happening too fast. And then so the cops came, and I gave them my dash cam footage, which was apparently really helpful. She was fine. I guess I should.
Thank goodness.
Also leave it that she wound up being okay. She had to go to the hospital.
Right.
But when the cop came to like return the footage to me, he said, she really went flying. It was it was
wow.
It was terrifying. And a ton of people left. Rewatching the footage, everyone just they were like, it's 5. I'm going home. And they just turned instead of going straight. It was awful.
It's interesting how people react under crisis. This is another thing I've brought up a few times, but when you're in a crisis situation, you almost can't help who you are. So like you could be a bad person in real life, but in a crisis, you could just act and help out. Or it could be the opposite.
It's very true.
So what I'm getting from you is that you're a fight when it comes to crisis. Like you act. And
I am.
Do. Yeah, me too.
I'm always,
the same way.
What I've learned is that I'm always in crisis mode, which is not great for everyday life. But when a real crisis comes around, I'm the one you want.
Have you been diagnosed with ADHD ever?
Not ADHD, but I do have an anxiety disorder.
Okay.
Generalized anxiety disorder. So I'm just like hyper.
Yeah. I've read a lot about people like me or like in that area where like ADHD, high anxiety stuff that like in the everyday world, they may not function that well. But when something big happens, they're the ones to
I prepared for this scenario.
That's exactly how I am. There was one time I was walking, I was waiting for the train. And by the way, I am absolutely not saying this to pat myself on the back, anything. It's just an example of what we were talking about. Because when I've told this in the past, some people are like, oh, you want praise. I swear that's not why I'm freaking saying this. It is just an interesting the way the human mind works.
Yeah.
There was a fight between a woman and a man. We were waiting for the subway, and it got physical. And there was a whole bunch of people there, and I'm a small guy. Everyone there was bigger and probably more capable physically than I was. And the guy hit her in the face. And as soon as that happened, before I even could think, I was running towards them. And to a person, everyone else there stepped back or did not move at all.
Yes.
And thank God when I got up to him, he ran away. I don't think because he was scared of me. I just think like, oh, he knew maybe something bad was going to happen and there was going to be so
and you started it.
Yeah. And so he saw me running towards him and he ran away. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, I can't believe I'm the only person. That's scary. You don't want me protecting you physically. I'm the only one running towards this.
No, and in your brain, you're always like, someone else will take care of it. No, they won't. You're that someone. You're that someone. You have to be that someone. You just have to assume you're the only one.
I do wish that more people, like, you can't help who you are when a crisis first starts. You can help who you are once it starts sinking in. So it's like, I think we need people like us who act, and then people maybe who freeze, but then can maybe process, and then it's consciously on you to now get involved if you can.
Don't just don't do nothing.
If you run, you're not going to be there. But if
don't say it's not your business. Oh, the first thing that the 911 operator asked me was, did the car stay on the scene?
Right.
And it was just bizarre to me that's a question you have to
freak out and you leave.
Will hit a human and then just keep. It's
and
he did stay. He stayed.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I do think it doesn't. This might sound weird and I might disagree with myself 2 seconds from now, but I actually don't think it necessarily means you're an evil person if you flee. If when you flee, you're a flight person and you're like, I got to get out of here. But after that, if you don't come around to confessing, then you're probably a bad person.
Yeah, probably, I would say.
Can you tell me about a time in your life, preferably your adult life, where you were really publicly embarrassed? And again, if not, doesn't matter. Okay.
I can. I'm not actually, not shy anymore, but for as introverted as I am, I should be embarrassed more than I am. I'm just typically not. I'm like, here we are. It is what it is. But there was a law librarian in Delaware where I work. Was like reaching out to me because I got relocated and it was a new job. And he was like, oh, we're having this lunch presentation and a bunch of other librarians are coming and you can come meet them. It's at my law firm. So he told me the floor it was on, the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself out there. So I go. Didn't see him when I showed up, but it was like on the right floor and it was like there was lunch and so I was like eating lunch, going back for seconds, raising my hand, like jumping into small groups. And I get all the way back to my office and open up my email and he was like, hi, are you coming? I literally crashed a random.
That's incredible.
I think it was a staff meeting at a law.
Oh, that's so good. I hope someone noticed you and you're like, who the fuck is that? I so hope someone noticed.
Well, so when I told him what happened, I was like, I promise I didn't stand you up. I went to a meeting and I was really active there. I guess it was just the wrong meeting. He said everyone in the firm still laughs about it to this day. He's like,
it's so good. I love that. And I love the idea that one or two people notice you and they're just like,
I had seconds of lunch. Like I was not flying under the radar.
That's so good.
It's awful.
All right, just a few more here. What's a movie you're most likely to recommend to someone you don't know? So based nothing off their personality, something that is like a go-to. You'll probably like this movie. if you have one, that's generally mass appeal?
I do have, so I'm a bit of a movie snob, but my favorite movie isn't snobby at all. It's I'm gonna tell you what it is, and this is probably what I would recommend, and you're not allowed to judge me. It's just I grew up watching it, and it was like the one thing we had on VHS.
Okay.
So we just watched it over and over again.
What's VHS? No, I'm just kidding.
It's Remember the Titans.
Okay, we're gonna end this interview now. I actually haven't seen that since I was a kid, so I really can't comment too much on it.
It's just, it's very feel good. It doesn't make me anxious, and it just I know the lines. Yeah, okay. It's like a warm blanket.
Okay, well there you go, folks. Remember the Titans.
Don't say it again.
That's the name of this episode now. Have you ever earnestly, keyword being earnestly, thought I'm about to die?
I mean, I think I'm about to die all the time, but maybe not.
Okay.
Like, we got into a few car accidents when I was a kid, but I remember being scared to learn to drive.
Right. But it was just like traumatic. It wasn't like I am literally about to die right now. It was just kind of like, this is horrible.
Oh, wait. Okay. I do have one.
Okay.
This is like triggering a lot of memories. So I had mentioned studying abroad in Wales and doing all that outdoorsy stuff. So we did this one thing called co-steering, where I don't know if you know what that is, but you just kind of like,
I don't think
you're just kind of, they make you wear we had to wear a wetsuit because it was cold. I actually had to wear 2 wetsuits. It's very hard to get on one wetsuit, let alone 2. And we were like kind of going along the coast, and like, it was kind of like half scrambling on rocks and then half swimming. And so we get to this cave, and I don't know if it was I don't know what it was. It was like spinning water that shouldn't have been there. And we were supposed to go one way, and there's a group of us, and me and my one friend we didn't hear the instructor right. We went the other way, and he was a very calm, cool, collected Welsh dude. Like, he was just very easygoing. Things would get dire, and he just didn't yell. He screamed. And that's when I realized it was bad. And he was like, you need to swim towards me as fast as you can. Like,
oh my God.
He was like, yeah. So we did, and it was terrifying, and it was really hard. And then we got out, and he calmed down. I think he gave me a hug. Like, he didn't do any of that. So yeah, that time I was like, oh
wow. Could you feel your heart pounding in your ears? Like, was that?
And I was just reacting. I was just like, oh,
of course.
Oh, I should. Yeah. And then afterwards, usually I don't panic in the moment. I just act in the moment, and then I panic directly afterwards.
Right.
And then I get really hungry.
Right.
I don't know why. I just always get really hungry.
I've had a few nature related like freakouts. Have you ever backpacked or camped or anything by yourself?
No.
Yeah, I did it once, and it was a whole different experience from being with usually I go with Chelsea, my girlfriend, but I did it by myself once, and it was like a whole new experience. And there was a few moments that got really hairy for me.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I also don't like to, just because I'm a woman, and that's like a whole added level of like danger. Like, you're scared, you're like worried anyways, and then you have like one more thing to be worried about. But
as a woman or as a paranoid man like myself, I'm like, it could be some like lunatic, like just but that's why I do carry bear spray, even if there's not like bears around. I'm just in case, with my luck, even if it's a dog, like anything, something's gonna happen. Thankfully it hasn't yet.
Wild out there.
Actually, I wrote about that solo trip. I'll send it to you if you're interested.
Oh, please do. Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely it's a weird experience if you ever do it. It's like you by yourself on a mountain, and you're just like, I can't. I'm glad I did it, but solo backpacking is definitely not something I like. I don't backpack. I don't know why. Maybe you feel the same or not. To get away from people so much, it's more just to be in that mind state.
Yeah, absolutely. I just I like the experience. Yep.
Right. take this question to mean whatever you want. Just answer with your gut. Are you a robot, vampire, or werewolf?
I am a robot.
Okay, interesting. I would not have pegged you for a robot.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna go with werewolf because that's what I would say. I don't want to be werewolf, but I feel like that's what I just naturally would be.
Yeah.
But you went robot. Can you tell me why?
I think I'm hyper logical. My instinct is to be emotional, and I think the way I learned to deal with that as a kid was to bring logic into it, because with logic you can explain away anxiety. You can like bring statistics into it, and so now that's how there's like a filter. There's like a logic filter before I get to the emotion. So like if something happens, I'm able to kind of assess it logically and then decide how I want to react emotionally.
That's incredible, and I've never learned that lesson.
That's what I'm hearing a lot from people.
I don't have a lot of logical, especially when it comes to like emotional situations. Maybe in crisis mode I do, but for the most part, generally speaking, I don't have that. That's awesome that you developed that.
Yeah, there's like a lag.
I see robot now. I see robot. Here's another question where you could take kind of whatever you think the meaning may be. Are you proud and or satisfied with who you are right now in this moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's awesome. Again, another difference between us.
Really?
Oh yeah. And if do you want to elaborate on that at all? Like, is it okay? Let me just say this. Do you feel as proud or satisfied now with yourself than you felt 5 years ago?
I think I think 5 years ago I still felt proud and satisfied just of where I was then.
Right. Okay.
And now I feel that way about where I am now. So I'm not, I'm not stagnating. I'm constantly growing, but I like to, so I treat everyone else with a lot of empathy, and I like to also direct that at myself. Like I just always want to act in a way where if I met me, I would want to be my friend. And so far I'm doing that. So I feel.
Yeah. Well, I don't like you at all. So you're not doing right.
I'm having a terrible time.
That's awesome though. This is like two things you've said so far that I'm like, I need to steal that from her because
you can.
Yeah. I really need to learn those lessons myself. Okay. And finally, last question. Could you tell me about a memory that you purposely think about when you want to feel happy, or a memory that just makes you feel happy? And it doesn't need to be anything like it could be very mundane. It could be like someone smiling at you or something that makes you feel happy inside.
Happy inside.
Could be when you were a kid, could be recent, whatever comes to you.
I guess this isn't one specific moment, but every time I travel to different countries, right, I feel that like exploring a new place and no one speaks the same language as me, and like searching out new like hole in the wall restaurants, and that's where I'm awesome. Happy.
Yeah, so like you'll go back to like a specific memory, maybe when you were traveling or something like that.
You want me to think of a specific?
Oh no, I'm just saying. I mean, you could, but I'm just saying. So that's where your mind goes to when you feel happy, like memories of traveling.
Memories of traveling. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's
I love to travel. I hate to travel, but I like to be.
You don't
there.
like getting there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But once I'm there, I'm like, it was totally worth it. I would do this. I would do it again.
Yep. I haven't traveled a ton, but like I've been to a few different places, and I feel the same way. Like getting there is such torture for me, especially if it's a plane.
Yes.
I mean, I have to drug myself. I take 2 milligrams of Xanax and I drink a beer.
The alcohol is a necessity.
Yep. But like, I really do think that, as cliche as it sounds, that when you get to certain areas, I'm not sure that it's like, oh, you learn so much about yourself. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But for me, it's more the experience of knowing, even though I could look at like Paris and I can think, oh, that's what goes on there. When you're in a place, it's just a totally different thing. Same thing with outdoors. Same thing with being on a mountain. I can look at a picture of someone on a mountain, and like, oh, that's really pretty. But it's something
not the same.
You can't quite get to the core of without being there.
Yeah, I agree with that. So like for Hobbiton, I saw pictures and was like, I absolutely have to go. And then I got there and we did like the evening banquet tour. So we got to eat there, and then we got to like walk back through Hobbiton with like lanterns at twilight. And I remember like looking up and there was like no light pollution, so you can just see the stars. And I was like, this is like the pinnacle. Like I've never been happier than I am in this one moment. And there's not a picture in the world that could give you that.
It's just I was hiking in Grand Canyon, and no matter what video picture, it's incredible.
I really want to go.
Nothing can possibly, and like we did like hiking. We didn't just like walk around. We went into the canyon and
it's intense.
It was amazing, but nothing I took, no picture I took, no video I took. People look like, oh yeah, it's cool. I'm like, oh, I wish I could transfer it to you.
Yeah.
And some people just actually, I find like, even if they do play, this is kind of rare, but there's people I know that even if they do go places, it doesn't move them. Which I found I don't have a bone like that in my body. Like
me neither.
I'm ready to be moved at all times.
I want to be. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. But wow, the Grand Canyon was, and like Zion and the Petrified Forest, those national parks are just incredible.
Have you been to Yosemite?
No, I haven't been to a lot of national parks. I haven't been to a lot of them.
So I've been there, and you don't think that you're going to be blown away. You're like, it's just some trees and some like, and then you arrive and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I had this weird feeling about Petrified Forest where I was like, hey, this could be like whatever, a dud, but I feel like there might be something deep here. And it was including the Grand Canyon, the only place that I cried at because it was so overwhelming. I wasn't like going like, but
no, but still, that's
definitely rolled
lovely.
down my face. I was like, wow, like, I am moved right now just because
that's lovely.
It's so, I don't want to go too into it, but it's so old and changed from what it used to be. And the like what time does to things is so apparent, specifically at that place, that it's just moving. It's very moving.
Now I want to go.
There's a lot of hidden hikes there as well. People think that there's no hikes there, but there definitely is.
That's awesome.
Well, look,
I'll let you know when I get there.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
So two things you have to follow up with me on: Petrified Forest, and don't remind me, what was the other one? Oh, Dawn of the Dead 78.
Yes.
So follow up with me.
I will, definitely.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.